Matt McLean, Ha-Seong Kim, Zach Geloff? What's going on at second base? Find out that and more on today's action-packed episode of Locked On Fantasy Baseball.
You are Locked On Fantasy Baseball, your daily fantasy baseball podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics, and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast, brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, we're your number one source of fantasy baseball knowledge, and thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. I'm your host, Dominic Martino. You can find me on Twitter at DomMartinoFB. Here, as always, with my brother, my co-host, my partner in crime, Matthew Ane, and you can find him on Twitter at Matthew_Ane. If you're listening on a platform like Apple or Spotify that allows 5-star ratings and reviews, we would truly appreciate it if you could do that for us. And guess what? If you do it, you might as well take a screenshot of it and join us on the subtext platform. Send us over that screenshot of your rating and review. And guess what? You will get a chance to join our coveted listener league for this season. We are announcing the next winner on February 22nd, which is this Thursday. So guys, get your entries in. I would say before Wednesday. Wednesday, you're cutting it real close. So make sure you get it in before then. And guys, if you're watching on YouTube and you haven't already, hit the little bell below. It subscribes you to the channel and gives you a notification every time we drop a new episode. And guys, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. New customers join today and you'll get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet of $5 or more wins. Visit FanDuel.com/locked-on to get started today. And guys, we're back at it, talking second base today. A lot of changing, a lot of new names, a lot of old names, just a lot of stuff going on here. Matt, my brother, why don't you take it away?
Yeah, buddy. And I'm going to just premise this just so everybody gets a breakdown. If you're new to the show and you haven't been watching our other, preview episodes / like target and voids, the way we break this down is we, go run through quick to like the top 15 ADP. Then in the next segment, we're going to do a little target and action, who we're actually trying to scoop up and have as our starting second baseman, or somebody we're just targeting at the position in general. And then who we're completely avoiding, that is like a no go, don't touch kind of player. And, you'll be surprised by some of the names and we'll go through it. All right. But let's start this off. We got Mookie Betts, obviously, as the number one second baseman, Ozzie Albies, Marcus Semien, Jose Altuve, and Nico Horner. Right now, I feel like Mookie Betts, for me at least, this is how I'm approaching him, is he's not going to be a second baseman on my lineup, maybe on like sub days. But personally, I'm not drafting him as a second baseman. Outfield is so short, and like a serious drop off at the once you hit to a certain point in the draft, that I'd much rather have him locked in as my outfielder than my second baseman. So I'm not really looking at him as that. So I kind of just he's out of my mind. And like my first second baseman is Ozzie Albies. Like, I don't care. Like personally, like if I'm doing like a one, like I get Mookie Betts in the second and I feel enticed to grab Ozzie Albies in the second, I'll do it because I have a top outfielder in my opinion and Ozzie Albies. Cause again, I'm not starting Mookie Betts at second. Like it's just not happening this year. Then you got Marcus Semien. Dude's always Mr. Consistent. You can never go wrong with him. That Rangers lineup is stellar. So, he's a no-brainer. I don't think I need to really talk about him. Jose Altuve. I think what we saw when he came back from the hand injury towards the end of the year is pretty much what we're going to see. Going to be good, like going to be valuable. And, you're pretty much drafting him to not only draft what he can do in, across the board, but also the Astros lineup as well and what he could put up in both the runs, ribbies, and whatnot. So Jose Altuve is my guy, and I like to target as well. But lastly, Nico Horner. I don't understand his draft price. He's pretty much a stolen base and average specialist, in my opinion. He is a guy that I'm really not really thrilled with as in his draft price. He's a guy I'm not like an avoid guy. Depends on my team construction. If I went heavy power, Nico Horner, somebody that I could trust to slide in and be like, okay, good. I'm going to make up and get a guy that's going to get 50, 60 stolen bases. He's more of like a niche team construction kind of guy where he is good and he is going to be valuable for fantasy baseball, but only in certain builds.
So, Matt, there's some things you're spot on with. Some things that I'd beg to differ on. I think it's an interesting take to say that you're not playing Mookie at second. Like, I get it. Outfield is super thin, but it's almost like having a cheat code at second. So I'd say that if you take Mookie Betts in the first round, which is where you have to take him, his ADP is currently fourth. I might try a strategy where I come back maybe two outfielders back to back, because as outfield does thin out. So if you get a Luis Robert and whoever else is around at that time, and you do a team construction like that, I would really want to play Mookie Betts at second, because it's almost like a cheat code to have him there compared to everybody else there. He's just on a different level. Next up, Ozzie Albies. We kind of been talking about him a lot lately. I don't feel like I have a lot to add to that. I'll just throw out his ADP is 23rd off the board. Then Marcus Semien, he's just kind of becoming that old reliable. You're going to get that power speed combo in one of the best lineups in baseball. You could take Marcus Semien in the second round, end of the second round, beginning of the third round, and walk away super, super happy. Altuve, kind of just, you know what you got there with Altuve. Matt covered him very well. I like him. Think he recovered well from the hand injury, as Matt said. Nico Horner is kind of a guy where, Matt and I might differ a little bit here. I really like Nico Horner, really showed out a lot last year. You're not getting any power at all there, but it's not a horrible price you're paying for a 50 steal guy. I think the batting average is going to be, very, very well. The hit tool is there with a guy like Nico Horner, and he's projected to hit second. So I think the runs are going to be there too. And RBIs are not going to be there. So, you're getting elite production, I think, in runs, batting average, and steals. So, a strong three categories from Horner. And, that's kind of why you're paying up at pick 60 for him. And I honestly, around there, not I haven't really had him in a lot of my mock drafts. Might have grabbed him once or twice, but I do like Nico Horner. Let's name the next five here. According to ADP, we have Matt McLain, who's coming off the board at pick 64. Ha-Seong Kim as the seventh second baseman, coming off the board at pick 84. We got Gleyber Torres as the eighth second baseman, coming off the board at pick 90 almost. Spencer Steer, ninth second baseman, pick 97. And then Ketel Marte as the 10th second baseman, coming off the board at pick 100. When we talk about these names, McLain, I'm going to get into a lot later. Well, not a lot later, but a little bit later in this episode. Ha-Seong Kim's an interesting one. I honestly have him as like a not Matt McLain, a Nico Horner light. You're going to get good steals from him, but the rest of the categories are kind of remain to be, seen here with Nico Horner, not Nico Horner, Ha-Seong Kim, because I don't know where he's going to hit in that lineup. The Padres lose Juan Soto, not going to have as many runs as he did last year. So he is an interesting name there. I'm not really going out of my way to get him, but if you missed out on the Horner and you want a guy that's going to get you a monster amount of steals, you can grab Kim. Gleyber Torres, I think Matt has a good rant coming up for him later, so I might save that for Matt's rant, and then I'll chime in on my thoughts on Gleyber Torres there. Spencer Steer's an interesting one. It's a guy I got to see him do it one more time. I love the multi-positional eligibility when it comes to Steer. I love the lineup. I love that he's projected to hit in the middle of that lineup as well. But Steer's another guy. Just got to see it one more time. He wasn't really a highly touted prospect, not somebody that I'm going out of my way to target. And then Ketel Marte. Honestly, I think it's good value on Ketel Marte. World Series runner-up last year. Pick 100. He's going to give you a little bit of power, tiny little bit of speed, and the runs and the RBI should be good in a very, very elite lineup there.
Yeah, I mean, I like all your takes. I'm going to say two things on two players, and then I'm going to move on to this last little bit. Ha-Seong Kim is a guy I posted as my bust on the Bust episode, so go back and listen to him. Not really a fan. Spencer Steer, I love him if what's his face isn't in the lineup. Get it for me, Dom.
Ellie.
No.
Strand.
No.
Who else? McLain.
God, you're killing me. The
India.
one dude, yeah, that guy. If India's not in the lineup, we wasted 5 seconds on just nothing. But yeah, anyway. Steer I like if he plays, because then there'll be an opportunity. Otherwise, he's pretty much going to be a really risky pick. Ketel Marte, I'm just not trying to get burned by him. If I can get him well after pick 100, more like 120, I'll consider drafting him. Other than that, I'm not trying to get burned with like the years and years of phalange issues. So just I'm good. These last couple guys, I don't think we have too much time for this segment. But I'll read them off real quick. Bryson Stott, Luis Arias, Andres Jimenez, Zach Geloff, Isaiah.
It's
I
Socrates.
thank you. But yeah, with that all being said, please stick around. We got guys we're going to target in this next segment coming up. Sneak peek. It's going to be a good one. I'm excited to say who I'm going to be talking about and whatnot. So stick around for that. Here we go. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From supercharged to roof racks to exhaust kits to LED headlights and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors got you covered. With over 122 million in parts, your number one ride or die. You're always going to find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay's guaranteed fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the right prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions may apply. eBay's guaranteed fit only available in the US. Locked On has launched its first ever national 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top stories of the day with local experts on Locked On Plus, our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national 24/7 streaming channel. And guys, most important thing here, introducing the Locked On Fantasy Baseball Podcast Diamond Club on Subtext, your ultimate fantasy baseball companion. Dive into this offseason with Dominic as we provide tier-based rankings with over 100 outfielders and starting pitchers ranked, prospect insights, sleepers, breakouts, busts, and personalized draft grades. You have burning questions, we've got the answers, and as the season unfolds, rely on us for dynamic content. Get real-time alerts right to your phone, including waiver wire rankings, instant call-up alerts, injury reactions, and a whole lot more. Stay ahead of your fantasy league by joining the Diamond Club on Subtext today, where the path to victory begins. Subscribe now and elevate that fantasy baseball experience. And since you're going to join, which you should, do not miss out on this going into your draft season this year. Might as well write a review and give us a 5-star rating on Apple and send us a screenshot of it. And then that'll get you a lottery ticket into our coveted listener league. So please make sure you do that. We're announcing their second slot to be a given away on February 22nd. So get on in, get signed up now. And then from here on out, we'll be giving a spot away every week until the season. So enjoy.
All right, brother. That was well said. By the way, kill the eBay ad. By the way, very proud of you for that one, brother. But yeah, let's hop in. This is the fun part of the episode. We're doing targets and avoids here at second base, and I gotta start with my target. And if you've watched, I'd say maybe more than a handful of episodes, you've heard me talk about him before. It's Bryson Stott. I love the value. I love what he brings to the table. I love the step he took forward last year. Bryson Stott's coming off the board, 11th, second baseman, pick 112. So you're getting a guy after pick 100 that I think is somewhat comparable to Nico Horner, who's going way, way earlier. And as I said, I honestly don't mind where, Nico Horner's going. So you got to know I love where Bryson Stott's going. Bryson Stott last year as a 25-year-old broke out, 151 games, 585 at-bats, 78 runs, 32 doubles, 2 triples, 15 homers, 62 RBIs, 31 steals, and a 280 batting average. I honestly think this guy was, I know that he was one of the, most highly touted prospects, coming up, through the system, and he really didn't pan out that first year, but last year really proved himself. He's the sprint speed is legit, very fast. He's a good fielder, so he's going to stay on the field. I think the batting average is legit. The underlying stuff looks good. He really doesn't swing a miss a lot, doesn't strike out like a crazy amount. So he's somebody that I'm really digging on this year, and it really I don't think he's going to have a great spot in that Phillies lineup. It's so crowded at the top. So he's probably going to hit somewhere around where he did like last year, like 5th or 6th. I'm trying to pull up what Roster Resource has him projected as. They have him projected as 6th, but honestly, I could see him moving up over Alec Bohm, maybe that one spot, and hitting 5th. Even if he stays 6th, I think the RBI potential is still pretty good. I think we see a lot more than the 62 RBIs we saw last year from Bryson Stott. Absolutely love him. Take him everywhere you can this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think Stott benefits from that lineup no matter where he is. The problem that's going to occur is I hate the manager there. As I'm rocking out the Phillies today. You know, it's he loves to do like some duty stuff, like always loves to mix and match lefty righty lefty righty lefty righty, like super analytical, and sometimes it messes where Bryson Stott's going to hit in that lineup each and every day. But honestly, like if he's hitting 6th, like I'd much rather see him hit lower, just so he can benefit from like Kyle Schwarber coming up right behind him. So there's different ways you can look at it. I think Bryson Stott is just in a position to be successful no matter where he is in that lineup. So I like him this year as well. I find myself drafting him, whenever I can get the opportunity. But
Yeah,
this
I
is
think
the
I've
other,
taken him in almost every draft I've done so far.
yeah. And I've mixed it up depending on like team construction. But like if
Yeah.
I miss out on Bryson Stott, I usually go to like my backup dude here, and that's Zach Geloff. Geloff is like my safety nozzle. I love him just based off of the upside. I hate the team he's on. So, you're limited. There's a limited ceiling as to what it is, but I feel like his ceiling is pretty much his floor. What I think he's just gonna do. And hey, I might be a little rambunctious on a dude that's only played 270 at bats last year, but I think it's pretty legitimate what he could do. Last year at 270 at bats, 40 runs, 20 doubles, a triple, 14 bobs, 32 ribs, 14 stolen bases, and batted 267. In his minor league career, the dude has hit 270, 304, 333. Walk to strikeout ratio has been pretty decent, not for nothing, 50% in the minors in 23 before he got the call up, little under in 22, and 21 you can't even say it's only been 138 at bats, but ultimately like the kid looks like he could possibly provide that 4th position, possibly all 5 categories at some point, and be a little bit different at the position, being that he actually has power behind him. I'm more excited for when he's not playing at home, but that's all going to change when they move to Vegas anyway, because I'm excited to see what that stadium's going to look like. And it may
Hopefully
no
it's
longer,
better.
yeah, and it may no longer be a pitching advantage and maybe a hitter advantage. And the way the MLB is trending, they're probably going to bring that porch in quite a bit when they get over to Vegas. So it's going to be interesting to see what Geloff's future looks like, especially once they make that move. So, long story short, I love Geloff this year. He's like one of the last Mohegans. I think we got time for one more target, and I kind of want to talk about him. And it's because somebody asked in the comments today on YouTube, and it's Nolan Gorman. Nolan Gorman is an interesting one this year. Uh, he's pretty much, Dom said it great off pod. He's pretty much Max Muncy of the second base position. He's going to get you power. What he did in that, 400 and some odd at bats, like 406 at bats, he had 27 home runs. Like you can't get mad at that. And you know what? If that team starts clicking, which I think they will, the runs and ribbies are going to be an instant spark. And all we need him to do is hit 250. And Nolan Gorman is going to be a top 50 player. And he's going to pick 125 right now based off of ADP. So like I think it's less than that if I'm not mistaken. Um,
Gorman's ADP right now is
187.
187. Yeah, which is
So like
crazy.
I'm not gonna go and walk away with him as like my starting second baseman. Do not get me wrong. But what I will say is I'm totally okay with, him as my flex. And God forbid I missed out on the last of Mohegans, I will wait around and then scoop him up about 2 or 3 rounds earlier. And it's okay at that point. Like sometimes that happens, you get stuck. But Nolan Gorman's a wonderful last ditch effort to have a second baseman. And you could just make it up in other places with, drafting other guys. But with that being said, we got one last sponsor for you, and then we got our avoids. And this one you're going to want to hear. We got some surprising names outside of who we talked about on the bus list, on the bust episode. So you're going to want to stick around for that.
And guys, we're talking about FanDuel. Get buckets with your first bet on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 if your bet wins. Bet on all your favorite NBA players and teams with quick bets, live same game parlays, exclusive props, and more. Just visit fanduel.com/lockedon and shoot your shot. FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NBA. All right, guys. Real quick, just wanted to give my 2 cents real quick on the guys that Matt spoke about. I'll keep it short and sweet. With Gorman, honestly, Gorman, huge power upside. He smacks that ball so hard, and the ADP I think is absolutely absurd right now. If your team missed out on some power, or you're even just questioning your second baseman towards the end of your draft, take Nolan Gorman without a doubt. That's an easy one. I think he's too low. When it comes to Zach Geloff, he's one that I've been sliding down a little bit in my rankings. So that's why I kind of wanted to speak about him, because I kind of wanted to go the opposite side of Matt's argument. With Geloff, I honestly think the power and speed are legit, but I really think that's all he's going to give you. And then even in Oakland, I don't know, the power played well last year. Is it going to continue to play well, right? So I think in worst case scenario, you're looking at a guy that 25 home runs with maybe 20 plus steals, 25 guy. But I don't think the counting stats are going to be great in Oakland. I think the RBIs are going to be really tough to come behind, tough to come by on that team. The runs might be decent for him, and the batting average is interesting. I know he had good numbers in the minors, but when you look at his underlying stuff, it really isn't inducive of somebody who's going to produce a great batting average. So I kind of question that as well when it comes to Geloff. But let's move on to our avoids here. And I'm going to start with mine. And this is someone I might get a little pushback on this one, but it's Luis Arraez. And with Luis Arraez, you're like, oh, Dom led the league in batting average last year. What are you talking about? That's all he really does. And it's really great for, real baseball, but it's not great for fantasy baseball. All he's really going to do, if you play in like a roto league, he might be better for you, because that's like a year round. It's going to really help you out and really help boost your average. But if you play in head-to-heads or points leagues, he's not really going to help you. 71 runs last year for Arraez, 10 homers, 69 RBIs, 3 steals. So that's all he's really doing for you. Maybe you move him up a points leagues a little bit, but especially in head-to-head leagues, categories leagues, stuff like that, he's really not going to do much for you besides the monster batting average. I really don't, foresee him being great for fantasy baseball besides the average.
Dude, you couldn't have said it better myself, honestly. Like, I mean, I'm just not a fan. He's just a really good baseball fan, and it's not like you're buying a good team that he's going to be on either. The
Yeah.
Miami Marlins. So like, there's no boost from anybody around him. So I genuinely don't care. Like Jazz Chisholm, okay, he'll be on the field for 305 at bats.
And they lost Soler. They lost the guy
Yeah,
who was driving in everybody last year too. And right now, Arraez going off the board, 12th second baseman, pick 125. You have Andres Jimenez after him, Zach Geloff, Paredes, Nolan Gorman, Morel. So many guys going after him that I would take over him.
yeah, with that 1000%. And honestly, too, like, there's nobody really in the rearview mirror that's come making their way up. So, have fun.
Yeah,
Just don't do it. Just don't touch him. Great avoid, Dom. I actually
thank you,
want
sir.
to I want to get my guy in, and this one is tasty. Very, very tasty. Like Dom promised earlier in the show, Gleyber Torres, I have a rant about him, and he is my avoid. And I have a good reason for it. Gleyber Torres is going to be 27. I don't want to hear, oh, there's this breakout coming. I don't believe in age 27 breakouts for starters. Neither of us do. Now maybe Dom might say, oh, he's a Yankee and get a little homer on it, but I don't, and I don't even think he realized until I pointed out that he's 27 this year. That he was right, that it was going to be a thing, not to throw you under the bus, even though I kind of rang you over and then threw you back under again. Um, but like, here's how I approach Gleyber Torres, right? Like he had a decent season on the year, right? 596 at bats, 90 runs, 28 doubles, 2 triples, 25 bombs, 68 ribs, 13 stolen bases, and batted 273. This is the first time he's hit above 250, above 260. since 2019. Okay, I'm not buying that. Also, his walk to strikeout ratio is a lot better this year than it's been in the last 4 years. I'm not buying it. Maybe there's some improvement, but guys don't get that discipline that quick. I think last year the ball was just coming in a little slow for him, and he was able to figure it out. I don't think it's repeatable. Another thing is for where he's going in the top 100, I believe we were talking about 86, if I'm not mistaken. That's a high price.
Yes, 89, 89.
89. That's a high price for a guy that maybe will hit you 25 home runs, will have you 90 runs, um, and then won't get you ribbies, won't steal you bases, and maybe will get you the same batting average, which I don't see possible. I think he's being overdrafted, and I avoid him every chance I get. There's other people that the jury may be out differently on him, but personally, I think the last 4 years are indicative of who he really is, and we're all still hanging on 2019 and that magical season from him. And I don't foresee it at age 27.
So I agree of that. Glaber's in a void in the sense of where he's going. He's going too high for what he does, and as you said, I don't think Glaber's going to take like an elite step forward in any specific category this year. I think last year was the year we saw him, improve that plate discipline. And I think that obviously affected the batting average. And I honestly think that he can maintain that. The underlying stuff looks good. He really didn't whiff a lot. He wasn't chasing. So it really shows that he did improve his eye as well. So that's a good sign for Glaber. So I do agree once again. I'm not taking him there, but I think Gleyber Torres, there is a path to, a very productive fantasy baseball season in that Yankees lineup. Matt already knew that I was going to say it. I have to throw it out there. I think the Yankees lineup is much improved this year. And I think Gleyber Torres is going to find himself somewhere in the middle of that lineup. Roster Resource has him as fifth right now. So even if he does hit fifth, let's just name the three people in front of him. Anthony Rizzo, Aaron Judge, and Juan Soto. So there's going to be a lot of opportunity for Gleyber to drive and run. So I think we see a flip-flop actually of last year where the runs are a bit lower. Gleyber Torres doesn't hit the ball super hard. So the 25 home runs, I think that's about where he lives. So you're going to see, I'd say 75 runs, 25 homers, 90 RBIs. The steals that, last 3 years have been anywhere from 10 to 14. So let's call it 12 steals. And I think the batting average is going to be somewhere in that range. That 270 range for Gleyber Torres, but I'm not paying up for that at pick 89. So basically, great take there, Matt. Real quick, let's kind of talk about how we're approaching the position, brother, and then we'll head out and we'll call it the end of the episode there. So when it comes to second base, and I really think it starts to thin out, especially if you're playing in a 12-man league and there has to be 12 starters. It starts to get real sketchy, So if you happen to be lucky enough to get Mookie Betts in the first round and you want to play him at second, you have that. Then you have Albies and Simeon who kind of go late second, early third. I like both of them. I'm drafting them. Altuve's got good value at 38. Then you kind of see that fall off. And then I haven't taken a lot of Horner, haven't taken a lot of McLean, Kim, Torres, Steer. Around pick 100 is where I jump back in. Around pick 100, I like the names after pick 100. So, like I said, kind of going, and I know I do this in a lot of position previews, but I'm going either really elite or then I'm waiting. That middle tier is not for me. I really don't like the names in the middle tiers. I love the Stotts. I love the Geloffs. I love the Andres Jimenez. And that's the way I'm approaching the position.
Yeah, I'm doing the same. Either I'm grabbing somebody at the top outside of Mookie as my second. Like I will still grab another one because there's actually a possibility in the world based off of where you have to draft Mookie with ADP. You can still come up and get Ozzie Albies. But anyway, you can. I'm really after the three guys of Albies, Simeon, and Altuve. I'm waiting until there. The middle ground is like, okay, who do I want to spend too much money on, or who do I want to build the biggest risk into that draft price? And here's how it is too. That middle piece in my rankings, I have a lot of those guys under the guys that I have that are going at after pick 100. Funny enough, like Inside Baseball, Nolan Gorman's my 11th second baseman, and he's going at pick 187 in a 12-man league. I'll pull that trigger and walk away with him as my starting second
I've
baseman.
Gorman at 13.
Yeah, so like he's just somebody that I'll trust over a lot of guys in the middle. Matt McLean's price is just too high for me. That's the only one I would probably pull that trigger on. But you know what? I'm running out of time here, Dom. Why don't we get us out of here and we'll call it a day here?
I got one last thing to say. Christopher Morel, 20th second baseman off the board, pick 213. Take him all day. But guys, with that being said, that's all for us today. Please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, rate, and review. Thank you for our everydayers and new listeners for making Locked On Fantasy Baseball first listening each and every day. See you tomorrow.